Unsyndicated presents What the Puck with Sean Baligian.
I'm Sean. Hi, good evening. How are you? Everything well? Good, fantastic then. Mike and I had to go a little early today. Here, Mike, I know we're both doing it right now. So this comes out here, let's say, wings hanging on. How's that? Wings hanging on. More on that in a second. Jets, what happened? How's that? Jets, what happened? The curse of hockey news. Trips to TC. How's that? What we're doing. Screw everybody.
Countdown has begun.
Yes, it has. Yes, it has. Hold on. So let me send one more out. So that's the dumb What the Puck. Now let me do the I don't enjoy Facebook. How's that? And then yeah, that one hasn't come up yet, so I think I have to share it this way. All right, watch this. Sorry, I'm just talking to myself, Mike. Good evening, hockey fans. Nice to hear from Tom. Wings hanging on. Perfect. Trade target. Bum, 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 bum. Jets struggling. Remember last year how good they were? Do you remember that?
Yep. That damn Hellebuck stole my money.
I'm not saying that they were like the Avalanche, but they were like far and ahead. They set the pace and everything. They're a mess, right?
They're a mess, and it gets into what some GMs they don't want to re-sign guys. They let guys go. I mean, how bad are they missing Ehlers?
100%. 100. Cheveldayoff had the right. He had the right intentions, and who can forget that, the Hockey News said that they were going to win the Stanley Cup. What was that? 2019? Is that when they dropped that? Your Stanley Cup champion in 2019. They did it like 2-3 years in advance. And we know how that worked out. As Tom said, the Jets are a sad team. Here's a team that was far and away ahead of everybody last year. And you understand they're the worst team in hockey right now, right? Like, people get that, right? That, Mike, they're the worst team in hockey. A year ago at this time, I could look it up, but I'm lazy. I almost positive they were number one. And a year later, legitimately, you're talking about the worst team in hockey right now.
Yeah, I mean, it started in the playoffs too. They got exposed in the playoffs. The fake MVP was the fake MVP. I mean, he wasn't good. He's good enough, but you have to play better in front of him. It's something that at some point me and you are going to have to talk about, that the Avalanche are going to have to be ready to play a different game in the playoffs too. They couldn't do it. They made some changes, and they are regretting it.
Mike, they've lost 2 in a row. Whatever will we do?
Right.
And I didn't even tease the coach of the year. You know who the coach of the year is, and I will hear nothing. To lessen that. We'll get to that in a second. Wings look dead versus Pittsburgh Saturday. That's Dave. It's crazy looking at the standings the other day with them. The Wings have looked dead days in a row. And Mike, you and I talked about this last week. They got away with it against the Jets. The Jets poured it on them in the third period. I can't believe the Jets didn't tie it, let alone win that game by 2 or 3 goals, right? They got away with it. They got away with it and stole a point in one of the 2 Pittsburgh games. And I don't know how much you watched the other night. If Ottawa had even a junior B goaltender, Ottawa wins that game 5-3 or something like that. Thoroughly outplayed, but that's one way to look at it. The other way to look at it is, you know what, Mike? Even in this period of time through what? Let me do the math real quickly. 4 games where they just didn't look good. They have still found a way to take 5 points.
They did, and I think you hit it on the head with the Ottawa one. I mean, who the hell do they have in net right now? I mean, that team's in trouble. That team has everything out on the skater wise. They can't stop pucks. But just to sum it up of what's going on, Sean, if you look at the metrics or analytics or whatever you want to do, the Wings shouldn't have a point in any of these games. They were getting dominated. Now, what the show is, so you have. Again, I just looked this up and read it. It doesn't totally make sense to me, but you have the Corsi, which is going to show you puck possession and shot control, right, Sean? Now, then, but hold on. But that would have shown you that Ottawa would have won $1 billion to nothing.
Right.
And you get down to just
wait a second. You're not suggesting that stuff isn't gospel, are you? I hope not.
It gives you but it does give you insight into the game. This is where
I couldn't agree more. As long as you understand what its limitations are.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Then you go to expected goals. Expected goals were a little bit closer. Expected goals are going to give you those quality shots where what Detroit did when you look at those two and then you read in between. Detroit did a good job of playing soft man-to-man defense in their own zone, keeping everything to the outside, and didn't give up the quality chances. If they can do that, yeah, they're going to steal a point here or there. But, Sean, what happens against, I don't know, let's say Carolina, right? What happened the other day? You're going to get absolutely murdered. And then we can get to, as we can continue on to this, the shakeup of the lines. Okay. I mean –
what do you want? I couldn't agree more.
I mean, you can't have Raymond on the ice 4 minutes less than Larkin and Larkin on the ice 4 minutes more with nobody on his line because that makes him a minus hockey player, which was what he was. And what did Larkin do? Oh, I'm okay. I'm a +2 in scoring goals. Put me on the third line. That's a good way to lose a star.
I thought that was kind of funny, too, how Ray Ferraro kind of exposed the other day. I don't know if you saw that, Mike, and you're talking to two guys that are charter members of the Sidney Crosby fan club, but when he and you're not used to guys like of his stature to do that. I almost felt like he wasn't talking up Sidney Crosby as much as he was talking down Dylan Larkin. Like this is what Sidney Crosby does each and every game. Look at the little things he does shift by shift, shit like you and I have been saying for years. Because people in this town, you know, they remember 08, they remember 09 and everything. And it, like, to me, it really put that in focal point. And again, there he goes again on Dylan Larkin. Dylan Larkin is outstanding. Like I'm very. Stop with the number one center stuff. I still say that, Mike. I still say that today. I'd be hard pressed to put him in the top 15. There's no doubt about that. But with that being said, it's almost unfair to compare him or most other guys to a guy by the name of Sidney Crosby.
Absolutely. And, you know, we've been very hard on Dylan Larkin, but I've also turned and I've changed saying that I like what he can be. I'm not as mad and explosive on his contract, but what's going to make me vomit is, again, I'll have to see where they place him in the Olympics and where he plays. If he plays like he did in the Four Nations, which was like a 3 or 4, right? Then all of a sudden people are going to think he would be immaculate in that position if we could afford to do that. You just can't put him on an island by himself with who was he with? Leonard and I forget who he was. I've got it right here, but you can't do that. He was awful. Oh, he scored a goal. I'm like, yeah, on the power play, guys. Not that's when he's there. He needs somebody with him, and that's not a slight. It's just there's a lot of guys like that. He's not a 1. I'm going to call him a 2.5, and I'll have him at a 2 if you've got him surrounded.
That's 100%. By the way, let me tell you about my friends at the Wealth Advantage Group. They're located in downtown Northville, owned by two brothers with over 20 years of experience. The Hustack brothers get it done. They've done it for me. They've done it for many other families. They can do it for you. It doesn't matter where you are in life. You're saving for retirement. You're getting ready to sell a company. You're already in retirement. These are guys that can help guide you through every step of your financial journey. They work with clients who are at all stages of life and have clients in over 20 different states. The investment world is a complex one. So if you're ready to start taking your finances more seriously, it's time to work with the experts. Reach out to the Wealth Advantage Group at 248-773-8574 or check out their website at www.thewealthadv.com. I want to read what Adam said. Good evening, Ted. I'm not confident in the Wings at all, which is weird with a team battling for first at this point. I was having this conversation last night with a couple guys that were kind of giving me the business, Mike, and you know me. I'm usually I try very hard not to get slapdicky about my team, so to speak. And they were going, well, who's in first place? Who's in first place? And I said, guys, there's something called games in hand. So right now, for example, Montreal has a better win percentage because Detroit's played 2 more games. They're right there with Tampa, but Tampa has a point more and has 2 games in hand. So those are things that are factors. But to your point, Adam, and I still contend, you and I talked about this last week, and I still think that they make their way into the playoff. I do. I still think that they make their way into the playoff. However, I think it will be as a wild card. Mike, honestly, I do not think they finish in the top 3 in this division. I just don't.
And if they don't make the playoffs, Sean, it's going to be an absolute embarrassment, and it's going to heat up the talks because the East. I don't want to call them terrible, but I think what we were saying last week, which is there's no one to be afraid of. There's no one here that should be keeping Detroit out of the playoffs except for themselves. Do I like their roster? No. Do I think they win a playoff round? No. Should they make the playoffs? Absolutely. Do they need to make moves? They won't.
Speaking of which, and I have to give my buddy Justin, I think Justin brought this to my attention today. Mike, we've talked about it. We've used different verbiage, okay? They're pushed around. They're Charmony soft. They need more sandpaper, et cetera, et cetera. Kiefer Sherwood of the Vancouver Canucks. Here's a guy that started the season like on fire, just pumping in goals left and right and left. While that has subsided, Mike, his sandpaper and the fact that he throws his body around so much as he does, this guy would be a perfect team for the Detroit Red Wings. However, there are probably 5 or 6 other teams that are saying what a great fit he would be for them as well. And there's a couple things to consider. He doesn't have much of a cap hit. His contract is up. I don't know how much you're going to want to even extend with a guy who's 31, and Vancouver's going to want to get something for him anyway. This is the type of player that I think multiple teams are looking at. You know who else I think this would be? The Rangers. The Charmony Soft Rangers. And, I've said that for 2 years. Sorry. And shout out to Aaron Ward, who told me I was out of my mind. And then they got their asses smoked, which is exactly what was going to happen because there's Charmony Soft and Breadman plays half the damn ice. But other than that, it was a pretty good production. But no, Mike, tell me a team where adding a guy like that wouldn't be beneficial, which goes to your point. That's why I don't think Steve Yzerman will pay what it takes to get him.
No, I don't think he will. And I mean, talking extension, I don't have his contract in front of me. He's going to be a free agent at some point. He's going to be a trade deadline.
He's got 750. So it's not a bad hit at all. He's up at the end of the year. Yeah, he's up at the end of the year. There
you go. So that is going to get them a gold mine for somebody that is willing to do that and thinks they have the room to extend him after, and they have the assets to give to him. A playoff team looking for some grit. There's a lot of them out there that would do it. Yzerman is not going to do it. What he could do, let someone else go ahead and pay that price, and then you try to sign him in the summer if you can. Is about it because he's 800 years old, so you can sign him.
Yeah, he would be 31 years old by that point in time, and it would kind of fit what Yzerman does. No, I joke, I kid. I joke, I kid. But no, honestly, I think. And again, please, I think the people that watch this show are educated enough to we're not talking about a guy who's going to come in and drop the gloves or anything like that. We're talking about a guy who's just going to, he's going to bring you something. He's going to bring it every shift. He's going to throw his body around. I think the goal scoring prowess that he showed early in the year was more the product of being streaky as opposed to being a sign of things to come. Mike, I honestly, UFA at the end of the year, that would be the type of guy. Oh, okay. You know what? We want to get into the playoff. Let's see what'll happen. But when you add all that up, as Steve has said time and time again, the goal is not to just get in the playoff. So I don't think that fits in line unless he has an idea of signing him for a 2-year contract beyond that or whatever the case may be. You froze. Mike, you froze. Boy, it's a good looking freeze though that Mike did right there. All right, we'll try to get back with Mike. As Tom said, the Sabres are rolling. We've been talking up the Sabres so much. It's been absolutely phenomenal. This has been a couple weeks now. If you guys haven't seen this, like legitimately, they're killing it at home. They're 13-5-2 at home. Obviously, they had the big win streak which ended last week. Who did they lose to? They lost to. Gosh damn it! Let me for a second. All right, we'll get back to Mike in just a second. The Blue Jackets beat them, and then they bounced right back and beat Les Sabres de Buffalo, beat Vancouver. So this is a scenario right now where, like, don't look now. Do you see where the Sabres are? The Sabres are next one up. They're legitimately next one up. They're at 48 points, only 1 point behind Penguins. Are you kidding me? They're at 48 points and only 4 points behind the Habs. Oh, by the way, with a game in hand. Now I'll take it a step further. The Sabres are only 6 points behind the Wings. If they put together a 3-game win streak, all right, they pass the Wings because they would have more regulation wins. It's absolutely, it's insane to think about that. So it went from being, hi, Mike, it went from being a cute little story to look where they are right now in the standings, a point behind Penguins, right there with the Habs. And Mike, if the Sabres win those 3 games in hand, they leapfrog the Red Wings. That's how much ground the Buffalo Sabres have made up. It's insane when you think about it.
Yeah, it's one of those runs, though, that it catches you at some point. When is it going to catch Buffalo? When you have to come from that far behind, eventually you're going to plateau, right? And you're gonna drop a little bit. But Sean, they're playing good hockey. They're playing the right way. These guys that we said they've got the talent.
I love watching them. I told you, I love watching them. I'm serious.
They're showing up, and they've got guys in the front office now saying nobody is safe. And anybody could go at any time. So if you want to stay here or you want a new contract, you better start playing because nothing's coming for free. And that also helps.
All right, Mike, I'm going to be really, if I said to you, who wins the Jack Adams Trophy as the coach of the year right now? Hold your thoughts. I think there's only one answer. And I know you're going to be drop dead stunned when you hear me yell out his name, but I think there's only one answer. First, let me tell you all about catering. All About Catering LLC, full service caterer, graduations, weddings, bridal showers, corporate events, anything you need catering for from 25 to 4,000 people. Rick and his staff at All About Catering can and will take care of you because customer service and satisfaction is their number one goal. So don't sweat your next big event. Just go to allaboutcateringllc.com today to see their menus and all their 5-star reviews. Give them a call, 586-731-1398 to get your event started. Mike, without a doubt, and I'm going to be intrigued. Mike and I have not talked about this, but I'm going to be intrigued to see if you agree. It's Patrick Waugh. What Patrick Waugh is doing on Long Island right now is insane.
Yeah. I had to write that. I wanted to talk about the Islanders. I want to talk what they're doing, and that was right before I got cut off. Talk about a couple teams that could use something like that. If Bo Horvat is done long term, which I don't know. I know he went off the ice hurt the other day. Someone that they could pick up. I love what the Islanders are doing, and they are very similar when you look at the numbers with the Wings in all kinds of fashions and stuff. But Sorokin is where the difference is with that, and he has these guys playing with some fucking jam, man. I really like it. I wanted to talk about him, and that's exactly what I was going to say. It's too funny.
By the way, I don't care what anybody says as well, and Ivan Demidov is having a phenomenal season. There is one choice for the Calder. Period. End of story. And it's Schaefer. Period. End of story. An 18-year-old defenseman coming in, doing what he's doing, being the catalyst for the Islanders that he is. Mike, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now, remember this. It is 7:33. It's 7:33. And it is what? January 7th. Okay. The Islanders are at 52 points. They're the number 2 seed in the Metropolitan Division. If they fall off, we revisit this. And then if Buffalo stays on fire, it might be Lindy Ruff, a guy that everybody thought was archaic and done. And I know your feelings, et cetera, et cetera. Right now, January 7th, I don't think there's any doubt about it. It is Patrick Waugh. With what he has at his disposal and an 18-year-old rookie, he's done a phenomenal job with Isles.
Yeah, and that is funny. I wrote that down because I was watching some highlights this morning, just watching it, knowing we were going to be talking, and I'm like, man, I really like what I've seen out of the Islanders. Look up that roster, and I'm like, that makes the Wings look good. I mean, like, what is that? But, I mean, Barzal had some shine a while ago, and Schaefer, you're absolutely correct, Sean. Defensemen do not come into this league at the age of 18 and do what he's doing. It's absolutely amazing.
I have seen certain guys, Mike. The one that did not shock me at all was Drew Doughty. When Drew Doughty left Guelph, I would have told anybody who listened, this guy's a stud. He's going to jump in the National Hockey League, and he's going to look like he's been there for years. Cam Fowler kind of surprised me because I'll be honest with you, I didn't even think he was that wow when he was playing for Windsor. So there are a few exceptions to the rule, but they're few and far between. What this kid is doing right now, Mike, phenomenal. I like all the credit in the world to this 18-year-old kid.
And highlight reel, right? I mean, he's every night he's doing something. Now, you've seen a couple guys take a run at him too, so they got to protect this kid, but he's something special.
By the way, I just looked this up for you, pal. The odds on the Calder, Schaefer is at minus 550.
Yeah.
Minus 550. Demidov's at plus 500. Seneke's at plus 1200. Everybody else is a mile away. And I think that's a fair statement.
I think there would be value in grabbing Demidov at 5 just because of the way Schaefer plays and the way guys have gone after him. He's very vulnerable to, and I don't want this to happen, but he'd be vulnerable to a long-term injury. And that would totally change those odds and turn them upside down.
Yep. That's exactly it. And you know what? Every night I'm watching that guy, and honest to God, go ahead and call me a slapdick if you want. Every night I watch that guy, and it's just like he does something every gosh damn night. It is, and I'll tell you what, you know what? I think he woke up Slavkovsky. You and I were talking about that a couple days ago. He just looks like an reinvigorated player, man, and he's never going to be the number one pick. That I don't think that's his game. There's nothing to tell me that that's the type of player he's going to turn into. I think he can be a very good player. I think he can be a dare I say, dynamic player, Mike. But I'll tell you what, with him engaged the way that he's been, my goodness gracious, he's unbelievable.
Yeah, we've been talking about it for a while. I'd say like the last month and a half, you saw it creeping up, but the last couple of weeks, he's just absolutely killed it. And it just adds to the excitement of that team. He doesn't have that flash and like that pop, but man, does he fit right in? He's got that big body, an unbelievable shot. He's going to be a steady, 30, 25? Goal scorer. I mean, the guy's going to score goals. I mean, he's just going to. And if they keep these guys together, I mean, sky's the limit.
Here's a good one. McKenna's still the number one pick. He lost that to me in the World Juniors. If I were a betting man, I would say yes, but I don't think it's a slam dunk either, Mike. Does that make sense? I'm trying not to sit on the fence. If you asked me to place a bet, I'd still say yes. But to your point, and I believe that's you, Austin, to your point, I don't think it's a slam dunk, Mike, at all.
No, he lost a lot of shine, I think, when he left the Dub to go to Penn State. I don't mind it. I think the way college hockey is going, that's actually going to be a move a lot of guys make. But watching that World Juniors, I just didn't like there was so much more. You know what I'm saying? Like there were so many other guys that stood out. I didn't see that. And again, what it gets into is he was so far of everybody. What, let's say a year ago, right? It was that here's the word generational, Sean. Kind of, and they get it into your head.
Right? They all are, right?
They're kids. They're kids, and we're just gonna have to wait and see. I can't say I'm in depth on everybody that's in the stinking draft. So the guys that's their job, I'm sure they're gonna look at it. I wouldn't pass on the kid, but we also have to take a look at that kid out of Michigan high school hockey, Brooks Rogowski. Don't forget about him.
I told anybody, no, Mike, I bet a guy, I shit you not, I bet a guy, Brooks Rogowski is going to be a first-round pick. Book it. It's happening. No, listen to me. You even look like you're
no.
He will be a first-round pick. There's no doubt in my mind.
I'm not doubting. That would just bring such joy, obviously, to both of us with what we do with high school hockey. But I told you last summer when he came over, I think I immediately texted you. I'm like, Rogowski has arrived. Like he had that NHL body. You've seen it so many times in the OHL, Sean. They get those kids and they make them young men. Today I was scanning through. I sent Sebi something where he's on the list for the World Juniors next year.
Yep. Listen, that's the reality of the situation, Mike. It is and you know as well as I do, guys are always going to take a chance on the boys with size. They are. They're just going to get. Hi, Michael McCarron. They're going to get an opportunity that maybe the other guy isn't going to get. You know what I mean? And that's just the reality of it. And oh, by the way, the kid can play too.
Oh yeah, and he's still growing. That picture I have of him and Sebi cracks me up. He makes Sebi look like the actor from not Crown of, what is that, Game of Thrones. I knew you know exactly what I'm talking about. but it's exactly, I mean, he is a monster. So it'll be good stuff. We'll be watching that draft and we'll be rooting for him for sure.
London trades O'Reilly. You ever think you would see London in a rebuild? It is no. In a word, no. Ray, when when Dale and Mark took over, and even when Mark left, and if you remember, Dale left for a little bit, that's not how they operate business. But they're also shrewd and smart, and they've turned that into the major junior hockey juggernaut. Mike, before we get out of here, we're going to Traverse City. We'll tell you about that in just a second. What were your thoughts on the World Junior?
I liked it. It wasn't the result. I know a lot of people, whether they won the Canadian team in there, they won the U.S. team in there. But I once again, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I loved the villain role that the U.S. team was put in there. I think I mentioned that last week that the U.S. Sweden game was one of the better games I've seen in a while for just a preliminary game. But hey, Sweden finally won the game that they're supposed to win, right? Every year they've got the talent and they just can't get there. They don't lose, and then they end up not getting it done in the playoffs. So it was good stuff. I'm sad that it's over, but guess what? We'll see it again next year, baby.
Sean, I know we talked about this, but Quebec is soft. Get it together, Frenchies. It starts at the junior level. Mike, you and I talked about this 4 years ago. I'm sorry. The Q always had that reputation. And now you're literally perpetuating that stereotype even before they hit major junior hockey. What do you want me to say? Sorry, anybody with half a brain in their head knew, okay? If you're telling kids, no, you can't hit. No, we're not going to have any of that hitting. We're not going to have any of that stuff. They are completely ill-prepared for when they have to go do battle against a team of kids that have been throwing shit around for the previous few years. It hurts them in a myriad of ways, most importantly, their development and their psyche. It was stupid. I can't believe they made those decisions. How's that? Is that good?
That's good. You did good. I like it.
Is that good? You and I, my friend, are going to Traverse City this weekend. This is such a fun trip. It's the Denowith Memorial Showcase up in Traverse City. This is, where the Wings do training camp and everything. We actually stay where the Wings stay during training camp, and to say it's a really cool thing is a gross understatement. But Mike, we've got phenomenal games to broadcast as well, and you can check them out on State Champs YouTube and of course Local 4 Plus as well.
Yeah, we always get excited. We love showcases. This is one of our favorites, not just because we go up there, but as we were talking with someone, there's 14 ranked teams that are going to be there this weekend, Sean. There's a multitude of kids that are on our Player of the Year and wall list. It is really good hockey, and I can't wait to get there.
Yep, no doubt about it. Great games, and we're going to have a big barbecue tomorrow night and watch Miami and Ole Miss. So we're kind of
Watson.
We're two little kids looking forward to that. Well, we're two little kids looking forward to that. USA made the final in the Spengler Cup. A lot of chatter about the World Junior Championship attendance or lack thereof. It's depressing to me. Absolutely depressing to me. I have no other way to say that. You're talking to the wrong guy, and I think I can vouch for Mike here. Mike, it is probably the best tournament of the year. Like, honestly, the World Juniors is, I say that knowing the Memorial Cup exists. I say that knowing the Stanley Cup playoff exists. Bang for your buck. This couple-week period is unbelievable. And, for selfish reasons too, it's pretty cool when I can sit there at 2:00 in the afternoon and say, leave dad alone. I'm watching this game. It's a crying shame that more people don't get into it. It really is.
Yeah, and I think the bigger shame of it all, Sean, and you've heard me talk about this on a local tournament that me and you attend all the time and have a big role in, but the fact that they outpriced the kids, Sean. The people that were there saying the one thing that was missing were the kids. This is something that little kids watch and want to wear those crests. They want to play for their countries. And they couldn't even get their kids into these games because of the price of them. And that's just an absolute shame on USA Hockey.
Minneapolis taking L's all over the place. Learning centers, riots, no one showing up to World Junior.
Learning centers. At least you spelled learning. Oh, he didn't spell learning right.
Yeah, no, I got it. I got it. All right, Mike, anything else before we get out of here? Because I'm going to go watch the Habs right now.
No, I'm watching the Habs right now. I'm going to go make a plate of nachos to get ready for my plate of nachos tomorrow. I think we've got it covered, but we've got a lot of work ahead of us coming up with trade deadlines and Olympics and barbecues. It's only getting better, baby.
I love it. Just let me tell the people, in case we did not tell them, what our schedule is. Let me pull it up, just so if you guys are interested. 6:15 on Friday, Bay Reps up in the Traverse City area, taking on Jeffers. The Jets are such a fantastic story. Traverse City Central, coached by the legend, Coach Givens, taking on Forest Hills Central. That's at 8:30 on Friday. Then at 4:30, I love this one, Escanaba, the Eskimos with a Y, taking on Flint Powers. And then our last broadcast, Mike, 6:45, TC West taking on Byron Center.
Yeah, I was very sad that we didn't get up to the UP this year. We promise we'll be back, but I'm very excited that we have both Jeffers and Escanaba, two of the hotter UP teams that we get to cover. And I think that Escanaba Powers game is going to be one of the matchups of the weekend.
Tim is one of the best hockey guys I know. Look at what he said. Only U.S. cities that should host need to be next to Ontario. 1,000% factual statement. Tim, you know this, okay? There are guys that I know that are huge hockey fans that follow college hockey, that follow the draft, that follow what's going on in the ECHL, the AHL, and the NHL, that have no bleeping clue what is going on with the World Juniors. And like, honestly, I know that sounds strange, because how could you say hockey fan and yet not have a clue? But my reaction is always this. How do you not know I'm not being funny. And Tim, you know me. I mean, you and I both come from OHL bloodline, so to speak. Okay, maybe I'm biased, but Mike, you know, this is something somebody posted the other day. What was it? Watson posted the other day the punch out in Christiani video. Like that's my youth, Mike. When the Russians and the Canadians brawled against each other in 87, like that's my youth. So when I hear somebody saying, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but when I hear somebody say, oh my gosh, like I didn't know about that, it's kind of like, no offense, what planet are you living on?
Yeah, that's amazing. That was a marker of all of our childhoods, I think.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, anything else, pal?
No, I think we got it all.
Okay. God bless you.
God bless you.
You're going to be over at 1:15 tomorrow?
Yep. I was laughing to myself.
Is that me?
I think I'm hearing it, and I don't know if it's me. I don't know. Maybe if I'm not plugged in all the way, but I've been, because it's just in my left ear. So I think it's got to be me, right? Maybe my headphones are going. But I was laughing at myself when you sent that text about going, being there at 1:15. I'm going to do my best to be there at 1:15 because I'm notoriously early. I am not leaving my house until 1:02.
What the hell do I care? Come over.
No, I'm just saying.
I care.
I know. I'm just saying. I just make myself laugh. I said I'm going to get there actually on time.
All right.
Watson's the one that better be on time.
That's who we got to worry about. Let's be honest. All right. And I got a bunch of sausages that are coming with us as well. All right. You guys take care. We'll talk to you next week. Mike, see you tomorrow. Later. No, really. I got to say bye now. Now watch. I got to hit this and I'll say bye.
What the Puck with Sean Baligian. Executive produced by Sean Baligian and Todd Losey. Theme song, incidental music, and related sound effects are from Always Pushing Forward by Elliot Middleton. Engineering, mixing, and graphic design support provided by the Unsyndicated Podcast team. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all your favorite channels. While you're there, be sure to rate and review the podcast. Got something to say to Sean? Call the Unsyndicated hotline at 248-237-3257.